Hello, you're tuning into 15 minutes bulletin of VNEWS Agency. I'm Ngọc Lê from Hanoi. With the headlines at your show.
Peruvian president hosts welcome ceremony for Vietnamese state leader.
Consumer price index up 0.33% in October. And later on, Vietnam, a unique destination attracting Indian tourists. Indian newspaper.
On November 13th, Party General Secretary To Lam chaired a working session of the Subcommittee on Socio-Economic Issues in preparation for the 14th National Party Congress. More details in the following report.
Speaking at the meeting, General Secretary To Lam acknowledged and highly spoke of the efforts by the Socio-Economic Subcommittee, which is headed by Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh, in drafting the socio-economic report. According to the party leader, due to the stature of the 14th Party Congress, the draft documents, including the socio-economic report, must continue to be elevated. The drafting work must ensure that the report is truly like an action program, reflecting the spirit of the entire political system, he emphasized. The General Secretary assessed that the opinions of the members of the subcommittee were very diversified, with many practical values. He asked the Standing Board of the subcommittee to seriously study and receive the opinions, to continue perfecting the draft socio-economic report. At the same time, it is necessary to proactively and actively coordinate with other subcommittees to build documents, ensuring consistency in the
State President Lương Cường and a high-ranking delegation of Vietnam arrived at the Jorge Chavez International Airport in Lima on November 12th afternoon local time, beginning their official visit to Peru and attendance at the 2024 APEC Economic Leaders Week.
Peruvian President Dina Ercilia Boluarte Zagara hosted a formal welcome ceremony for Vietnamese President Luong Quang and a high-ranking delegation at the Government Palace in Lima on November 13th. This historic first visit by a Vietnamese state president to Peru coincides with the 30th anniversary of Vietnam-Peru diplomatic relations, marking a milestone in political, economic, and diplomatic ties. Over 3 decades, both countries have strengthened cooperation in politics, diplomacy, trade, and investment. High-level meetings are frequent, supported by bilateral dialogue mechanisms like deputy-level political consultations and the Intergovernmental Committee on Economic Affairs. They share membership in international organizations such as the UN, APEC, and CPT pages. Vietnam views Peru as a key partner in Latin America, with bilateral trade nearly reaching $500 million in 2023. Vietnamese enterprises like Viettel and Petrovietnam have major projects in Peru, totaling $1.24 billion in investments. Following the ceremony, the presidents held talks to advance bilateral relations. Earlier, President Quang laid a wreath at Lima's Heroes of Independence Park. During his official visit to Peru, State President Luong Quang met with the President of Peru's Supreme Court Javier Arevalo Vela on November 13th. Vietnamese state leader congratulated Peru on becoming an ASEAN development partner and on hosting APEC 2024, expressing confidence in Peru's rising role globally. He highlighted growing bilateral trade and investment, with Peru as Vietnam's top investment partner in Latin America and Vietnam as Peru's primary ASEAN trading partner. The leader proposed enhancing judicial collaboration, noting Vietnam's need to refine its legal system. He encouraged cooperation between Vietnamese and Peruvian courts and support for Vietnamese enterprises in Peru. Arevalo Vela emphasized that this meeting, marking 30 years of diplomatic ties, will strengthen Vietnam-Peru relations. He affirmed Peru's commitment to protecting foreign investors and proposed formalizing judicial cooperation for mutual growth.
Chairman of the National Assembly Trần Thanh Mẫn received outgoing Cuban ambassador to Vietnam, Orlando Nicolas Hernandez Guillen, in Hanoi on November 13th. Lauding the diplomat's considerable contributions to political, socio-economic, and cultural ties between the two countries.
Vietnam's top legislator congratulated the ambassador on completing his term,
highlighting Vietnam's enduring gratitude for Cuba's support in its national liberation and current development efforts. He emphasized the unique, politically trusted relationship between the two countries as a model in international relations. Ambassador Hernandez-Guillen noted that despite economic challenges and the embargo, the Vietnam-Cuba relationship continues to grow, achieving significant results. He underscored the role of both countries' legislative bodies in creating a legal framework to further bilateral ties, including socio-economic partnerships. Agreeing with the ambassador, Mann stressed the importance of reviewing and strengthening the implementation of existing agreements. He expressed confidence that Hernandez-Guillen will continue fostering the country's special friendship in his future roles.
Vice President Võ Thị Ánh Xuân is on an official visit to Sweden. Here's her activities in the West European country.
Speaker of the Swedish Parliament, Riksdag, Andreas Norlin, received Vice President Swan in Stockholm on November 12th, local time. Sweden is willing to further strengthen its collaboration with Vietnam, the speaker told the Vietnamese guest. Appreciating the Vietnamese National Assembly's establishment of the Vietnam-Sweden Friendship Parliamentarians Group, Norlin said, he backs the promotion of activities to share experience in lawmaking and supervision. For her part, Vice President Swan showed her gratitude for the valuable support from the Swedish royal family, government, parliament, and people towards Vietnam over the past 5 decades. Both sides also emphasized the importance of parliamentary cooperation and agreed to increase the exchange of delegation between the two legislatures in the coming times. Within the framework of her visit, the Vice President had a meeting with Swedish experts and friends who have made positive contributions to the bilateral relations. She also met with the Vietnamese embassy's staff and representatives of the Vietnamese community in Sweden. Currently, there are more than 22,000 Vietnamese people living in the European country.
Vietnam's consumer price index in October increased by 0.33% compared to the previous month and rose by 2.89% year-on-year.
According to the General Statistics Office, 10 of the 11 groups of goods and services saw price increases and 1 group decreased in price. The CPI growth was driven primarily by higher prices for food, rental housing, and domestic fuel, which fluctuated in line with global market trends. Transportation showed the largest increase among sectors, rising by 0.66%, largely due to a 2.27% increase in diesel prices and a 0.98% rise in domestic petrol prices following multiple price adjustments in October. Meanwhile, some items saw price reductions, with new car prices and road passenger transport both decreasing by 0.1% and used car prices dropping by 0.23%. Core inflation in October rose by 0.23% month-on-month and by 2.68% compared to the same period last year.
With the goal of fostering fast and sustainable development, Dien Bien Province is leveraging its natural resources in forestry, minerals, energy, and tourism. The Northern Mountainous Province is implementing various solutions to attract investment, thereby further driving local socio-economic development.
The Muang Thon Luxury Dien Bien Hotel project is the second hotel that Muang Thon Group is developing in Dien Bien Phu City. With support from local authorities in completing procedures and land clearance, the project has been approved and the construction has begun. It is expected to be operational by the second quarter of 2025.
Thanks to the support from the departments and local authorities, the necessary permits and paperwork have been completed, allowing us to start construction around the clock.
In recent times, Dien Bien has made significant efforts to improve its investment and business environment.
The province has taken multiple measures, particularly organizing meetings with investors, to showcase its advantages and introduce potential opportunities. This allows investors to choose sectors that align with their expertise and invest in Dien Bien.
In 2023, Dien Bien's Provincial Competitiveness Index, PCI, reached 66.77 points, a leap of 31 places compared to 2022, placing the province the 31st nationwide. This achievement reflects the province's efforts in improving its investment and business environment, underscoring its people and business-centric governance.
The province will continue to organize conferences to evaluate this index and adjust accordingly, with specific solutions to further improve the rankings. The commitment of leaders at all levels, or what we call leadership pioneering, plays an essential role in elevating these indices.
Moving forward, Dien Bien will continue to implement solutions to create a more open and favorable investment environment, contributing to increased investment, production, and business development.
On the evening of November 12th in Hanoi, a tourism promotion event brought together representatives from Incheon, the Republic of Korea, and Hanoi. This event served as a platform to exchange insights on MICE, on meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions tourism, while also highlighting the potential of medical tourism, a fast-growing trend in both cities.
At the event, experts discussed emerging trends in MICE tourism and explored collaboration opportunities for Vietnamese and Korean tourism businesses. Incheon representatives showcased the city's advantages. Alongside MICE tourism, the event emphasized medical tourism, a sector experiencing significant demand as health and wellness become more central to travel.
We have a variety of promotional programs in Hanoi, and we hope residents here will become more familiar with our city and visit us. In return, we are also working to encourage more people from Incheon to come to Hanoi and experience Vietnam.
Korea remains the largest source of international tourists to Vietnam this year, and the number of Vietnamese travelers to Korea is also rising. To stimulate two-way tourism, the Incheon and Hanoi Tourism Associations signed a memorandum of understanding to foster growth in the tourism sectors of both countries.
This MOU demonstrates a deeper commitment to collaboration in tourism promotion and reciprocal image building. I am optimistic that this event will further strengthen tourism ties between Vietnam and Korea.
Since the COVID-19 pandemic, tourism agencies in both countries have intensified promotional efforts to attract visitors. MICE and medical tourism are two key areas that Hanoi and Incheon are prioritizing to ensure sustainable tourism development.
A destination that is capturing the interest of Indians like no other is Vietnam, said the Economic Times, a leading business newspaper of India.
The Economic Times said outbound travel bookings to Vietnam for some companies are up 500% this year compared to 2019, and travel companies and carriers are looking to offer more options and boost capacity. It quoted the Vietnam National Authority of Tourism as saying that there were 392,000 Indian visitors to Vietnam in 2023, an over threefold increase from 2019. Recently, direct flights from Ahmedabad to Vietnam's central Da Nang city were introduced to cater to the rising demand from this region. Vietnamese carrier Vietjet claims since 2019 it has continually expanded its routes and direct connections to meet rising travel demand of passengers. Currently, the airline operates 68 weekly flights between Vietnam and India. Vietnam's affordability, combined with hassle-free visa regulations and a growing number of direct flights from India, is fueling this growth among Indian tourists.
And that's also wrapped up our daily bulletin. Thank you for tuning in and goodbye for now.